Dr. Vikki Peterson here. Welcome to our webinar on what supplements do you need. It's a very big topic and a very popular topic, and so what I'm going to start with is some basics. I know it's half an hour, so some of you might need to leave a little sooner, and if you do, that's fine. We have a gift for you for attending, and if you need to leave early, we'll just send you an email so you get that information in your inbox. And so I wanted to start with kind of the basics of, you know, not only what supplements do you need, but you even need supplements. And so in a perfect world, we probably wouldn't need supplements if you're on a great diet and you have really optimal health. But unfortunately, very few people have optimal health, and very few people are on a perfect diet. So what I like to really focus on is what I call foundational nutrition, which is having a great multiple vitamin, mineral, full of antioxidants. And I have one that I love. I'm going to do a little show and tell while we're here today. So this one is called, hopefully you can see that okay, it's an Optimum Daily Allowance and Body and Vision, and this is by the same company, Obrien Pharmacy. And this was developed specifically by a biochemist, and as a little exercise, I took a very popular multiple vitamin mineral that a large health food store carries, and I compared the quantity of what's in this particular combination vitamin, mineral, supplement, antioxidant combo to this bestseller, if you will. And it was amazing. I'm looking down at some of the notes I have, but like the difference between 2 milligrams and 200 milligrams, and the difference between 25 milligrams and 300 milligrams. So, I mean, I could go on because there's probably, 50 different ingredients, but the difference is profound because you don't want to be taking 20 different bottles of things in a given day, but there's also a synergy, and that kind of goes back to what I originally started talking about with food. Sometimes patients say, I'll take whatever supplements you give me, just don't make me change my diet. And I'm quick to say, that's not going to work. We have to do both. And the reason is that there's certain biochemical cycles of the body. There's something called the Krebs cycle. And the way the biochemistry works is that there's a synergy and there's a very delicate balance. And so this particular vitamin mineral combination, as I said, you can't even call it a vitamin mineral because it's got everything literally. But that combination, it was designed very scientifically with these synergistic effects of all these nutrients. So the magic of how that works together is very delicate, basically. And so you really need to have all of those things coming in at the same time. It's kind of like saying, I just want to take some, vitamin A and vitamin E as an antioxidant and not eat fruits and vegetables. And we now understand the antioxidants and the way we keep discovering new antioxidants for that matter, and the way their synergy works together. So this vitamin mineral combination is one of my favorite, not because I'm hobby horsing a particular company. It's not my company, but it literally is miles above anything I've ever seen. And it's because of this, not only the quality of what's in it, but also the way it's put together. So by the way, I'm getting a question, so I'm going to click on it. But if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat button, and somebody's sending in a question. So she said, are vitamins not regulated? How can there be such a variation in the dosage? Well, it's interesting about that, and unfortunately I'm frequently hearing in my area of functional medicine how certain companies are being assayed, and even what they say is in their supplement is not in their supplement. So there's certainly no mandate of what has to be in a supplement, but hopefully at least what they say is in it is actually in it. And unfortunately, that's not necessarily always the case. So you'll see today, because I have some of my favorite supplements that I'm going to talk about, and I think they're mostly all from different companies. So there's not a particular company we work with. We're just always trying to find the best. So that was the little talk about multiple vitamins and minerals. I also wanted to talk about vitamin D. And so here's a vitamin, well, if you can see that, there's the vitamin D that we like to work with, and it's a D and a K. Now, the multiple I was just talking about has D and K in it, in a nice balance. However, it's really important that you have a nice level of D above 30, around 50. It doesn't have to be above 50 unless you actually have cancer. But vitamin D levels are historically in Americans extremely low, and this is causing a lot of issues. But what we realized in working with vitamin D and trying to get our patients to get a decent level, we were neglecting the fact of balancing D and K together. And what's critical about that is that vitamin D helps you absorb calcium, but vitamin K tells the body where to deposit the calcium, and you want that in your bones and not in the vessels of your arteries or making kidney stones and things like that. So that balance is very key. I like that particular one I just showed you. It's a liquid, so it's very easy to absorb, it's very easy to take, and it has that nice balance. A lot of times I'm asked about gummy vitamins, just as a quick aside on that. It sounds fun, they're chewable, you know, they taste good. Don't even waste your money. They're loaded with sugar and glucose syrup and, you know, very poor ingredients, and they have next to nothing in them. So you could eat probably a decent amount of fruits and vegetables in a given day and get pretty much everything that's in a gummy vitamin. Omega-3 fatty acids are another thing that it's important to get, so that isn't in that vitamin mineral that I showed you before. I like this one, and this you'll see it's Algae Omega. And if you hear a little bit about the fish in the world, they tend to be high in heavy metals, unfortunately, from our oceans. And where to fish get their rich omega-3 in their flesh is because they eat algae. So this way you don't have to worry about the quality of the oil as being tainted with heavy metals or any of those problems. You can simply get the algae itself, and this is very important for brain development. It's important for so many parts of the body. So I've written a lot of blogs about omega-3 fatty acids. You've probably heard about them, but we pretty much equate it with fish, and you don't need to. You can get a safe source through algae. Another thing I wanted to mention is adrenal support, and that's something that this is my favorite supplement. As you can see, each one of these is from probably a different company. But this has a lot of herbs in it. The adrenal glands are your stress gland. A lot of women in particular suffer from weakened adrenal glands, and a little extra support is very often needed, and that's a very nice balance. Why do you need adrenal support? So many different reasons: hormonal imbalance, poor energy, poor immune system. If you have joint pain, if you have allergies, inflammation, there's a lot of different reasons. Adrenals are very important as far as being supported. And once you get them under control, the one thing we think about at Root Cause Medical Clinic is that people shouldn't need bottles and bottles and bottles of supplements. And we see that as we optimize health, people don't, for the most part. So your foundational nutrition, the multiple vitamin mineral, some extra D, depending on your ability to absorb it. I take some extra D. I have terrible adrenal glands, so I do a little extra in that regard as well. I do take the algae, but you know, you don't need to take an individual zinc, an individual B5, an individual, you know, all these things individually. I think that's definitely unnecessary if you can have some good foundational formulas. Another one I wanted to go over, the name is a little bit misleading because they call it joint care, but it goes way above that as far as it's just an anti-inflammatory formula that's very synergistic. So it has turmeric or curcumin, you've probably heard about. That's a great anti-inflammatory. And when we think of inflammation, inflammation is at the root cause of all degenerative disease. And this includes heart disease, diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disease. So making sure your inflammation state is not too high. This supplement helps while we're getting to the root cause. I think there's some more questions. Let's see. Oh, when you put the bottles on camera, there's a glare. Yeah, sorry about that. I noticed that. I think it has to do with the light that's right here. So don't worry. You can, anything you want more data about, we'll send you via email. So just send me an email on that, and we'll get you that information. The labels are hard to see. Yes, so this is another. Sorry about that. Is the K2 the only K vitamin that needs to be taken combined with vitamin D3? Well, as I mentioned before, you want that synergy of all the fat-soluble vitamins like D and K, and then also there's A and E. They really work together, so it's important to take them together, which is why I like you to have a very powerful multiple vitamin mineral. Let's see, if you can list the supplements in the chat, it would be great, since there's a glare. Yes, okay, there's a glare. I wonder if I put it on this side. See, I think this side would be better, right? There's still a little bit of a glare. There we go. But don't worry about it. I'll list all of these out. Okay, and then what else did I want to talk to you about? I want to talk to you about probiotics. And probiotics are very important from the viewpoint of keeping our microbiome, or the 100 trillion good bacteria that are found in your gut, healthy. We're learning so much about the microbiome, and more will continue to evolve. But 100 trillion organisms is rather huge. You have 10 trillion cells in your body. To give you an order of magnitude, we're talking 10x that number. And this microbiome is critical to prevent disease, keep the immune system strong, keep your brain healthy. Just wrote a blog on finishing up on keeping your brain cells multiplying and connecting with other brain cells, and how the microbiome is very key to that. So taking probiotics, we have a few that we use. This is one that's very sophisticated, and there's some that we prescribe if you've just taken an antibiotic. This is another one we use, Orthobiotic. So these probiotics are very important to get that foundation, kind of reseed the lawn, if you will, of your gut. Prebiotics are equally important, and that's what you get from the very starchy carbohydrates and what they call resistant starches. I've done a whole blog on that if you want to learn more about that. But your fruits and your vegetables and your beans and your legumes, the things that are harder to digest, get down deep into your colon and feed these prebiotic, feed the organism. So prebiotics means it's food for the probiotics. Let's see. Some other questions. Is it safe to take these while breastfeeding? So there's definitely some specifics of things you need to take while breastfeeding, and that's a whole nother topic. So write me an email, and I'll let you know the things that are of the appropriate level. Let's see. Good. The other things I wanted to talk about, calcium. So as a woman in particular, women are told, take your calcium, take your calcium. And we've really found that you can often get enough calcium in a very healthy diet, but enough of calcium in a basic multiple vitamin, as long as it's balanced with your magnesium and your manganese and your boron. In other words, the matrix of bone is much more than calcium. So we used to be very focused on just calcium, and we've kind of realized a little bit the error of our ways in that. So you want a nice balance. Don't just be taking calcium. For sleepy time, it's very important that we get our rest. And if you have trouble relaxing or trouble falling asleep, there can be a number of reasons for that. I mentioned the adrenal glands earlier, but I definitely like magnesium. This is magnesium glycinate, and this is something that I use before bed. I also use something called Myocalm PM, and this is kava and valerian root and passion flower and things that are herbal that help you relax. I also use either a melatonin, and I didn't grab that bottle, or this product Kavinace. So you can hear by the kava, it's kava is an herb, plus there's tryptophan and melatonin. And melatonin is very safe. You shouldn't need it before the age of 40. And if you're having trouble sleeping, there is a reason. I mean, sometimes if you're like me, you're just crazy busy and you're type A, and you need a little help relaxing, and that's where my bubble bath and my magnesium and the things I just went over really help me. But then there can be other reasons and imbalances in the gut, hidden infections in the gut, things that cause you to come out of sleep. There's some different things that should be addressed with that. So if you're having trouble sleeping and some basic relaxation issues are not, supplements are not helping. Also, hormonal imbalance can play into that. So there's a number of different things in that regard. There's also, from healing the gut, and there's a lot of talk about leaky gut. This is a support mucosa that's a nice product with glutamine and some other herbs in it. Once again, these are some specialized things that I'm telling you about that are over and above the foundational, but these are common issues. Leaky gut is extremely common. Of course, you have to get to the reason why the gut is leaky. Then you can heal it. Sometimes you just hear about something to heal it, but you're not changing your diet because you don't know how to change it, and you're not addressing any infections or any organisms that are inhospitable in your gut because you don't know who those are and how to eradicate them. So that's where some specialized testing can come in handy. How are we doing time-wise? I think we're doing okay. And one of my other favorites is a liquid B12. This is important only if you're on a plant-based diet, which I am. And so I also get it through nutritional yeast, but the B12 is good to take as a sublingual. It's very easy. It's a liquid. Once again, it's a little sweet, and just to keep those B12 levels stable. I did want to mention iron. Iron is a bit of a double-edged sword for women. For men, they don't tend to need iron as much because they don't menstruate, so they don't lose blood and thereby lose iron. So when women were in our menstruating years, we can be losing iron, and then we're functioning in an anemic state. So there's fatigue and lethargy and shortness of breath and a variety of things that can be associated with not enough iron. I do have a nice iron that doesn't constipate. It's not so harsh, and so it's important to get those levels measured. However, the other end of that is as women go through menopause, they tend to get higher in iron, and then men can be in this category as they age as well. We actually have too much iron, and that can be as dangerous as not enough. And in fact, it can be very oxidizing, having too much iron, and that can lead to heart disease and cancer and be hard on brain health. And so you definitely want to check your levels of your iron, particularly your serum ferritin, which shows how much iron you're storing. And if your iron is too high, you can donate your blood to diminish it. There's also a supplement we have that I don't think I grabbed that helps kind of pull iron out of the body. So, as a woman in my younger years when I was menstruating, I was always anemic. So I really never thought about worrying about iron getting higher, but mine is creeping up now that I'm not menstruating anymore. So it's definitely something to look at, and not something you tend to worry about as a woman, especially if you've had a history of anemia. So by the way, there's a little button that's going to come up as a poll, and we'd love to hear what other topics you want to hear in other webinars. So, so somebody said, any good anti-fibrotic supplements for scleroderma patients? So when it comes to autoimmune disease, it's important to there's a lot of things to deal with autoimmune disease. So you want to find out what is driving the immune system. So what underlies why the immune system is overstressed, which we're very good at. We have very good success with autoimmune disease. And but as far as just a supplement, that gets into sort of the a little bit the American way of, what do I take? And there definitely can be good anti-inflammatory things to take, but I'd really like to help get to the underlying root cause. And that's something I definitely want to offer. And I know we're sending an email about that, which is anybody watching is eligible for a free consultation with me, whether it's at a distance, whether you live at a distance, that's fine, or if you live locally. So let's say in a B12 supplement, is a B12 supplement needed for those on a vegan diet? Do you think you can obtain an adequate amount from foods supplemented with it? I think you can. I think if you're on a really healthy B12 diet, especially if you're taking a good multiple, it doesn't have to be this one, although as you know, it's by far my favorite. This has B12 in it. So a good foundational supplement will have enough B12. And then if nutritional yeast and you're watching your diet, you should be fine on a vegan diet. What do you say to the Biomatrix line regarding the inclusion of gluten, soy, and corn in their ingredients? Well, I'm definitely not in favor of a supplement line that includes gluten in their ingredients. And unfortunately, or corn, soy, sure, if it's organic, that would be okay. But by any line that's including gluten, soy, and corn, I'm sorry, it's probably not a very high quality line, so I would stay away from that. How do you determine if you're absorbing supplements? That's a very good question. Certainly having the best quality of supplements is going to enhance your absorption, but you're only as good as your gut is working properly. And that's why we do here at Root Cause Medical Clinic evaluate for food sensitivities. We evaluate for infection, the integrity of the gut. Those are things that are part and parcel of what you need to do to make sure that if you have a good quality supplement, you are truly absorbing it. So that was a great question. Let's see. Good. Okay. I think I got those. Great. So what else did I want to tell you about? Talked about the high and low iron. As far as immune boosting, I have another favorite supplement. I have all my favorites here today. This is called Transfer Immune Factor, and that's by another company, yet again another company. It's really great for boosting the immune system. One thing we're going to be offering at the end of the webinar is the ability to get some discounts on supplements. So I have packages on my site. So we have, kind of the what does Dr. Vikki take, which I've reviewed a lot, but also immune boosting packages, sleepy time packages. So those are all on the site, rootcausemedicalclinic.com, and you can go to the store and see those variety of packages. But I think especially, it's always really good to have, and I always have on hand, my very strong vitamin C, the transfer factor I just held up, a liquid vitamin A, a liquid echinacea, and on top of the multiple. But as soon as I feel the least little bit of, my immune system is getting compromised a little, or I'm about to travel, or I just got back from traveling, I always kind of boost myself with these supplements to ensure I don't get sick, which thankfully I rarely do. Okay, so that was my basic list, so that's good. I got through it all. I'm excited. So what I would love to do is hear from you on, as I said, next topics, and let me know any other questions that you have, because I'm here for you. There's a lot of confusion out there as regards, what are the best supplements to take, and as regards quality. And here at the clinic, we use what we call is Nutraceuticals. So you've heard of pharmaceuticals, right? So that's a synthetic drug, and but it means it's powerful. The pharmaceutical. A nutraceutical is a natural yet but powerful nutrient that really helps improve how the body is functioning. So all these particular companies that I held up with these bottles are of that higher nature, where they don't sell to I don't want to use any names, a grocery store or a drugstore. They don't sell at that level. Some of them you can get online, but you're going through their particular company because they're just at a higher standard, and we are constantly looking for the very best quality, because these supplements are not cheap, and it's a shame to waste your money on something that either doesn't have the ingredients it says it does, or doesn't have that bioavailability. And so all of these supplements, these companies that we've been working with for a long time, and quite frankly, like the vitamin D and K, that's a newer one. The multiple I've had for a very long time. We're always finding new probiotics as research is coming out. So definitely feel free to use me as a resource of what the latest and greatest is, but do realize that comes in concert with the best diet for you, making sure your hormones are balanced, making sure your gut is healthy through the kind of work we do with root cause medicine and functional medicine. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I would very much like to hear from you as far as other topics you think you'd be interested in. As I mentioned, we have a fun gift for you, which is we're going to get the supplement packages on the site to you at a discount if you want them. And you can go to our website at rootcausemedicalclinic.com and go to the store, and you can see a variety of the packages. And then the individual supplements, we will get you a list, and so you can see what's what with that. And if you want to get any of those supplements, those are coming to you at a discount as well. So it was a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking to you next time, and I'm sure we're going to have another webinar soon, and we'll let you know when that is.